Have you ever sat down after a long day and made yourself a cup of tea and finally had the chance to relax? And then your brain suddenly decides to remind you about all the awkward conversations you've had, and they could be even 3 years ago. Or perhaps you've gone to bed feeling absolutely exhausted, and your mind is racing, and then you're lying there and you're thinking, did I upset somebody today? Or what if I did something wrong at work? Or what if something goes wrong tomorrow? I really should have done more today. Well, the strange thing is that nothing is actually wrong. Everything is fine. So why won't your brain let you relax? Well, if you've ever wondered that, you're not alone in this, because today I'd like to explain why our brain does this and why actually your brain is helping you. So the first thing to understand is that your brain didn't evolve to make you happy. It evolved to keep you alive. And thousands of years ago, our ancestors weren't worrying about things like emails or school runs or mortgage repayments. They were watching out for predators, looking for food and protecting their families. The people whose brains spotted danger quickly, of course, were the ones who survived. So your brain has inherited this wonderful but sometimes rather annoying ability. It's constantly asking one question, and that question is, am I safe? It's not, am I happy? Just, am I safe? And because it's always looking out for danger, what happens is it starts to notice what's wrong before it notices what's right. And I often explain this using a sort of simple picture. Imagine your brain has two parts just kind of working together. At the front, you've got your intellectual mind, and this is where we problem solve, we plan holidays, we laugh, we create, we learn, we imagine things, we dream great things happening. But tucked away underneath is our primitive brain. And this part has one incredibly important job, and that is to keep you alive. It doesn't really care whether you're enjoying yourself. It just simply scans your world asking, is there anything to worry about? The interesting thing is that it can't always tell the difference between, say, a hungry tiger and a stressful email. And to your primitive brain, they're both almost potential threats. So it responds exactly the same way to both of them. So here's something many people don't realise, is that when life has been stressful for a while, your brain becomes incredibly good at spotting more stress. It's rather like setting a smoke alarm to be extra sensitive. Instead of only going off when there's a fire, what happens is it starts beeping every time you make toast. And the alarm isn't broken, it's just becoming overprotective, and your brain works in much the same way. Perhaps you've had, say, a busy working week, and you've been caring, or maybe you've been caring for someone, or the children have been really struggling at school, or maybe money's really tight, or you've had really poor sleep that week. Over time, your brain starts expecting more and more danger. So even when life finally calms down, your brain it doesn't quite catch up as quickly. So it still kind of stands on guard. Have you noticed that your worries often arrive at moments when you stop? Maybe it's in the shower, or walking the dog, or driving home, or trying to get to sleep. Maybe on holiday, that's when quite often people notice this. And that's because during the day, your intellectual brain is really busy. Of course, it's really occupied, it's focused, it's problem solving. But when everything becomes quiet, your primitive brain suddenly has room to ask. Right then, okay, should we be worrying about this, or what should we worry about now? And it's not trying to ruin your evening, or ruin your day, or ruin your night, or whatever, or your holiday. It's simply doing the job it was actually designed to do. Okay, so here's the really encouraging part, actually, is that your brain is wonderfully, and I mean wonderfully, adaptive. The more often it experiences calm, the more evidence it kind of gathers that you're actually safe. And this isn't about forcing you to think positively or pretending life is perfect when it's not. It's just about gently teaching your brain that it no longer has to be on constant alert. And that's one of the reasons approaches like solution-focused hypnotherapy is so it can work so well. We're helping the brain to step out of survival mode and spend more time in its thinking, kind of creative brain. Because that's where, of course, confidence grows. That's where good decisions happen. That's where we sleep better or we feel calmer and enjoy life again. So next time your brain starts worrying and everything seems fine, instead of thinking, what's wrong with me? Try asking yourself, what is my brain trying to protect me from? Because more often than not, your brain isn't broken. It's simply doing an excellent job, but it's doing an excellent job at the wrong time. Understanding that can be the first step towards changing it. So I hope you found this helpful. If you enjoy learning about how the mind works and how we can work with our brains rather than against them, I'd love you to subscribe to my channel, and each week I shall be trying to put out some simple explanations about anxiety and stress and confidence, sleep, children's emotions, and all the fascinating things our brains do every single day. So until next time, take good care of yourself and take good care of your brain.